We were going to bring him in to talk about some NBA coming up in a moment, but he wants to chime in. So, Jalen, if I have Jalen here, I would love to bring him into the conversation if he's there. Okay, Jalen Rose, go ahead. I know you've been listening to the conversation. What would you like to add?
Good morning, teammates. And it was great to hear each of you echo your feelings about what the coach said in practice and how Dabo Swinney responded. And I appreciate what Dominique had to say about he wanted to hear Dabo's opinion, and Paul said the exact same thing. But it's already too late. The cover-up is worse than the crime. It already happened. It already happened. So anything that gets said from now on is fake. It's phony. If we can brush it under the rug, we're going to do it. And guess what they've been doing since 2017? Brushing it under the rug. And yes, Dabo has a terrific football program that creates so much equity and finance for the university and for the city and stuff like that. But I do remember him being one of those coaches, because I was keeping score, that said he would not stand for any one of his players taking a knee when Colin Kaepernick was doing it. Now when I see that visual that's taking place around George Floyd, they mirror one another. Your move, Dabo.
I don't think that we need, this is not enough, or if you haven't been following Dabo Swinney, maybe this introduces you to some of the things that he's done or said, but he's also been outspoken against paying players, calling them entitled if they expect to get paid going forward. So if you needed a reason to not feel great about his positions, this is just another one on top of it. And I do think that maybe he's not comfortable going out and addressing major issues of social injustice, but he can commit himself to creating opportunities for black coaches. He can find ways to make a difference, to make a change, and show that this stuff is important for him. And I'll end with this. I know that on social media, a lot of people have been leaning on Dr. King quotes and cherry picking them to kind of villainize the people, or to vilify the people who are trying to make some progress. And I think one of the quotes that has not been used, but I think should be used more often, is Dr. King said that the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain silent in times of moral conflict.
We're going to move on here in a moment, but I do feel the need to ask, Jalen, first you, because you played a long time ago, comparatively speaking, and of course, times change and things like that. What is being suggested was said on the practice field at Clemson. Is that something that you ever witnessed in your career? And I'm not talking about from fans or in the terrible mail that you would get and all that kind of stuff during the Fab Five. But at any time when you were playing from within your own organization, is that something that would be completely out of bounds at any point during your career?
That's definitely out of bounds, Greenlee. Now, I was in college at a time where Bobby Knight was throwing things on chairs, and he was also being physical and disrespectful to a lot of his players, and all of those things have been documented. But for this circumstance, the learning was to take place in 2017, when the player and the coach both went to Dabo and told him, the leader, what happened. That was the crucial moment. That was it. And they lost the moment, Greenlee. That was the teachable moment right there. So anything that gets said after the fact, all it is PR spin. That's exactly what it is. And lastly, I have to just say this is really important. In a time where race relations have been heightened, I want to make sure that I acknowledge that I'm one of the voices that do not want people with racial overtones, undertones, feelings in their heart. You know what? I don't want them to be silent. Speak as loud as you want, because I want to know who you are. So many times that behavior has gotten closeted and we truly didn't know who felt a certain way. I would rather know how people feel. And so this is another example of that to me. This was a learning experience for a collegiate head coach. Something happened on the practice field, and instead of using it as a teachable moment, they continued to cash checks on the backs of all of their players.
Paul, did you have something you wanted to add here?
Yeah, I just want to say I've known Danny Pearman for about 30 years, and I sent him a note this morning, curious, not asking him for a public statement. He already gave it. I was just saying I'm about to go on. I would like some context. I was hoping, guys, that and Laura, that he was going to say, listen, I'm deeply regretful. I'm so sorry. This was a bad moment. I apologize even more profusely. He didn't do that. He sent me a text back saying, if you need any further comment, here is the contact information for the sports information director at Clemson, which shows me he doesn't get it, that somebody issued a statement for him. And I thought it was a minor thing, but it was a communication with someone he's known a long time, and he couldn't even bring himself to apologize in a text or a phone call saying, listen, I just want, here's how I feel. You know me. You've known me for 30 years. So I think he's failed, and I agree with Jalen and Dominique in terms of Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney can wrap himself in anything he wants, but he is losing this one very badly.
Okay, we're going to we will take a short break on that thought.
Greenlee, can I just say
Laura,
one thing?
Yes.
I'm sorry, really fast. Just because I want to make sure that we are fair in reporting all the facts here, I think that Dominique made a really important point about Dabo maybe needing to have more black coaches and it being more inclusive from that standpoint. I just want to make sure that everybody does know that while he has more white coaches than black coaches, he does have black coaches and people of color on his staff. I'm in agreement with what you all are saying, but just want to make sure that is out there.
I looked at his staff. He does have plenty of black coaches, but the point I was making was that he should advocate for change going forward and create opportunities for black coaches. And frankly, as it pertains to Danny Pearman, like, I don't know him. I don't care about him. It seems like he is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. I just don't want us to get caught up in pointing at him and say, hey, look there, we found the racist, and not be aware of the things that we do that are more pernicious and perpetuating the culture that subjugates black people. That's all. And I know Dabo has black coaches on his staff, but he can do more, just like many other white people can do more, frankly.